All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. A lot of people watching are probably in the morning. I totally forgot to go grocery shopping, and so I'm out of breakfast, and so I had to go get myself a croissant. Oh no, right? Also, my coffee should be through dripping now. You know, one of these days I'm actually going to start at 7. Let's see if we can get this angle. Can we do this? Dip. Oh yeah. Let's see if we can get that nice coffee swirl on camera. There we go. Look at that. Alright, and we have some music in the background today. This is royalty-free music by Alexander Nakarada. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. On my honor as a conlanger, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But yeah, let's see where we are. I've done a little bit in the interim since the last stream. Oop. Awful door opening noise again. Yeah, I've done a little bit in the past. Still working on getting into a whole routine here, you know? I have a Tupperware that I keep my pages in. The goal is to turn it into an extremely tacky book shrine. One of the things that medieval books were often kept in, especially if they were a relic of a saint, is a book shrine, which is a very highly decorated box. And so I kind of want to create myself an extremely tacky book shrine for my hopefully less tacky calligraphy project and just cover this Tupperware in glitter, because I think that the aesthetic would be funny. Speaking of which, it's really nice that I got an apartment that has this nice wooden table that I can use for all of my calligraphy and be somewhat pleased with the aesthetic of the whole thing. So what have I written since last time? Where is it? Yeah, I don't quite remember where we were last stream, but I've gotten halfway down page 7. And so let's take off all the bottom pages. I'm gonna have a little celebration when I get to the end of 14 pages and I can properly leaf through this whole thing. Like a tiny little book. Oh, you know what I wanted to do? Is put up the text so you can see it. Where are we? Oh, right. Yeah, so let me just get up this file. Where for intermittent fever. So where are we? For intermittent fevers, take dandelion and fumitory infused in water the first thing in the morning. Then about noon take wormwood infused in water likewise, drinking it 10 times, the draught being rendered tepid. And we're about to start on let bread made with pounded wheat also be taken, or oaten cakes, or goat's whey, the flesh of a young fowl, husky porridge and water, milk being abstained from, and indeed every kind of milk diet. Interesting. I wonder if that in any way relates to the kind of wisdom that I have heard that you're not supposed to drink milk during a cold. I've heard that will just make things worse. I don't know if that's like actual medical science or if that's just a thing like chicken soup is good for you. Folk remedy type thing. Anyway. Get ink over here. Also, if anybody's watching, please notify me about the sound balance. Does the music overwhelm me? Do I overwhelm the music? What's up with that? Nope. We have one viewer. Hello. Like I said, would appreciate it if you could tell me a little bit about how the music sounds. You don't have to give me your artistic opinion on the music. You just have to tell me whether or not the sound is good. I'm still working on all of this. Oh, does the little live button cover up the text? I'll just try and keep the text that I'm currently working on beneath it. And we will hope that that doesn't cause too much of a problem. Alright. Let's get down to it. Over at PhilosophyTube, which is a YouTube channel that I really like, Abigail likes to light a candle at the beginning of a live stream to kind of like give the whole stream that kind of chill vibe, I guess. I don't know if it works because my favorite YouTube videos are always ones that you can listen to rather than actually having to watch. But I don't know. I think it would be fun to open with some sort of small ritual. Thinking maybe like a reading. And just like find one of my favorite quotes from Ancillary Justice or Foreigner or Nine Fox Gambit or something. read it out loud before starting in on something completely anachronistic. Can you hear me chewing? I hope not. That would be kind of gross. Alright. As often as 10 times the draft being rendered tepid. Oh, I didn't mark my place last time. Where are we? There we go. I'm just going to take my extra nib here and put it right over there. Dipping my pen. What should we do with a pen test today? Pen test. Just a little bit of Carmine. Initials. There we go. That's a good pen test to start. Apparently there are whole sheets of medieval pen tests that have been preserved, which I think is pretty interesting. Also, the thing about the camera angle is that it reminds me not to like scrunch up in front of myself while I'm writing, and also keep a little bit better posture while I'm doing this. Or at least what I assume is better posture. Not hunched like some sort of gremlin over my work. Not that I have anything against gremlins, mind you. Just that I don't think that that's exactly the shape that I should be trying to occupy while doing calligraphy. There's a reason why medieval monks said that calligraphy strains the back and the eyes, and medieval monks are always going on about how strenuous writing is, which I feel like would be surprising to a modern person, but then you have to remember how long they were doing it and how carefully. So, I'm starting to get why they said things like that. I lost my... Oh, there we go. Let bread be made. Sip of coffee. End of a page. Just gonna add a little margin volume here. Is that me describable here? I'm gonna take this time to take a break, wipe off my pen, have some more breakfast. Turn on my AC because it's getting hot in here. Checking in the chat, still nothing in there. I know somebody is viewing me. So a couple days ago, I took my first motorbike taxi ride, which is something that I had been rather afraid of, never having been on any sort of bike before. But it really was not as nerve-wracking as I thought it should be, which is nice. And once I got to relax, I thought it was a nice way to see the city, kind of unobstructed. Not that a car taxi is particularly obstructed, but I don't know. I guess I got more of a feel for it. Hmm. kind of just checking out my stream settings to see what is going on. Sometimes it tells me that my resolution is not ideal. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, so when I bring the stream preview into full screen, I guess I can tell that it isn't like great resolution. I don't know how to fix that. But you can see the text that I'm writing on the screen, which I'm happy I was able to do. Oh, yep, there's the warning again. Please check the video resolution. The current resolution is 1440 by 900, which is not optimal. That's too bad. Let's take a look at what I'll be writing next. So, where are we? So what did we write today so far? I'll just start from the beginning of the section. For intermittent fevers, take dandelion and fumitory infused in water the first thing in the morning. At about noon, take wormwood infused in water likewise, drinking it as often as 10 times, draught being rendered tepid. Let bread made with pounded wheat also be taken, or oaten cakes, goat's whey, the flesh of a young fowl, husky porridge and water, milk being abstained from, and indeed every kind of milk diet. If the ague does not then terminate, the patient must be... Oh, the patient is the last word I wrote. So the patient, must be put in a bath when the paroxysm comes on, and an emetic given him whilst in the bath, as it will then act more powerfully. Interesting. It takes so long to write that sometimes I forget what exactly I am writing. And I wonder if that was a common experience for the medieval scribe. You kind of just do one word at a time and you don't exactly remember, wait a minute, what am I writing about? Oh, right, intermittent fevers and their treatment. I haven't. I'm just looking at my OBS and I was worrying that I had accidentally... Oh, you know what? No, that's muted. Never mind. I thought I might have been creating some sort of weird echo because I noticed that I have two microphones going on. I have audio input capture and mic aux. And so... But mic aux has been muted this whole time, apparently. So, that's good. Let's keep going. Let's refresh my ink. I'm just gonna run my hand carefully over this. Yeah, it's pretty dry. It's totally dry. It's not pretty dry. Oh, that's disconcerting. I don't think this has happened before. Take a look at this. So, you put this right in here. Right? So you've got the first page. It's going to get stuck into the binding. And page 1 of the text, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so when it's all bound, of course it looks nice, but when you take out the bifolio to work on it, suddenly you are facing previous text on the other side. And this is the first time in this project that I've gotten to this, which is interesting, because I have now reached the midpoint of the gathering. Look at this. So this is where one page is across both sides, rather than, say, back on this page when you had 2 pages. So yeah, I'm not sure how I should deal with this. Oh, you know what I can do? I will just, because I could either hold it under like this, which I wonder if ink will come through the little holes that I've punched for ruling. Or what I could do is I could take my scrap piece and use it to protect what I've already done while I work on this side. I don't know if that's period practice or what. I might have to research that. But I wonder if that's a problem they came up with. Or a problem they had, I should say, or was vellum and iron dull ink just that much more durable? They didn't have to worry about it. I say that as if the stuff I'm working with isn't durable, but I don't want to take chances, you know? You gotta figure if you had a whole bunch of illumination, you wouldn't want the illuminator's hand rubbing all over the side that you'd already done. That would be real annoying. But anyway, first thing we have to do is rule this. So where's my ruler? And as always in this gathering, I have accidentally left off one hole that needs to be added. Where's my pen? No, where's my very medieval little thingy? Mechanical pencil, that's what you call that. There we are, all ruled. And you know what I think we will do? I like starting a fresh page each day. I kind of messed myself up with that last time. So I think we're going to put this away. And I'm going to see what else creative I can do for half an hour until the stream is done. Because I did say that I'm going to be here until 9. And I didn't follow through on even being here until 7. I mean, by 7. I would like to be more consistent about that, but bed is so soft. Interestingly, though, this morning I woke up like 20 minutes before my alarm. It was like 5:40 when I looked at the clock, and proceeded to not get out of bed at my 6 o'clock alarm and just roll over for these little intervals of 5 to 10 minutes of the sleep button, which I don't really think improve my sleep. I don't think I would get more rested when I do that. I think I just have more incentive to stay in bed longer. And so, trying to cut down on that. Trying to cut down on that by doing calligraphy stream. Because if I say to myself, Brennan, you should get up and do grading at 6 o'clock in the morning, I say to myself, no, that sounds awful. But if I get up and I say, Brennan, you should do calligraphy for 2 hours and talk into the microphone, there might hypothetically be someone waiting to watch your stream. I think, okay, I guess I will get up. And I do. And then I have tricked myself into being up and ready for the day pretty early. Whereas I could just sleep in. And that would be even worse. I mean, I would lose more sleep and I would lose more motivation. No, sorry, I wouldn't lose more sleep. I would lose more time and I would lose more motivation if I slept in than if I just spent literally 2 hours doing calligraphy, which is not great to say out loud, but it's something I'm learning. It's good. I do need, at some point, to learn more about medieval bookbinding, so that when I arrive at the end of this project, I'm not stuck with a whole bunch of pages and a need to put it into some subpar binding or else let it languish around forever. And so that is gonna mean the acquisition of tools and materials and all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna wash off my nib. As I think more about this might not be a bad idea to do regularly to clean up on the stream, because I can be hypothetically talking and cleaning at the same time. Very important to clean the pen after every usage, so that it doesn't get gunked up with the ink. I guess it's the trade-off between having to clean your pen every time or having to cut your pen every time if you were using a goose quill or similar. Which is not something I'm great at. And I really did not want to, put off my ambitious calligraphy project until I learned how to cut quills, because I figured that would take a while and quite a number of quills, and the need to order all of those quills. And so I just decided to go with the speedball nib, and maybe I will get myself some quills sometime in the near future and practice on them. And that's the big problem, is that it really does take practice to cut a quill into something usable. And in my limited experience of practicing with that, it gets more difficult the smaller the nib gets. So in order to get something down to the size of the C5 nib that I use for the book project, you have to be pretty skilled with the knife and have a pretty good understanding of how the feather gives and bends if you're not cutting correctly. I've done some quill calligraphy and it's come out good, but I've always been doing it with a far larger nib. I've been doing it with something comparable to a C4 or a C3, which I don't actually know what the C sizes mean. I think they're just I don't know if they're an invention by Speedball or what, but they're the sizes I know. And so I've done a little bit of calligraphy with actual goose quill and actual turkey quill, and it came out good, but I can't get it down to a size that I could do a whole book in, which is the frustrating thing. Should I do this on stream? Because what I do here, I don't know if I showed this before, I basically go through and I put in all of the abbreviations that I'm going to use. Or not all of them, sometimes I forget some, sometimes I add some in later. All the red is where I went over a second time and added more abbreviations that I had forgotten. And what this does is it gives me a little bit more of a hint as to when I can use the abbreviations. I don't actually know if there are rules governing when the abbreviations are used. At least I haven't found anything like that, because they're not used kind of to what I would call their logical conclusion. Like, how can I put this? Like, you have all of these space-saving devices, right? But they aren't used every time they theoretically could be used. Because if they were used like that, then what you would get is essentially an alphabet that is not English. It would end up looking something more like Korean, literally. If you've ever studied Korean, you know that the language is composed in syllable blocks. So instead of writing all of the letters in one row, like we do in English, they write either a vowel or a consonant below the rest of the syllable, depending on what vowel or consonant it is. And they come in these prearranged blocks that, if you don't really know the difference between Korean and Chinese, they start to look like Chinese characters because each block looks pretty complicated. But really, they are just letters of an alphabet that have been arranged a little bit differently. And so English never evolved into that. It never evolved into that even in the monasteries, where you get all of these things like subscript I, where you can write an I below another character. Like you can write an I below an R, or you can create a ligature with an E and a D that is actually an E, a D, or E and T. I think that's actually where we get the modern ampersand, is a medieval E and T squished together. But yeah, English never evolved into a Korean-like writing system, which is, at this point, almost kind of confusing to me, why that didn't happen. So I try not to use them with any sort of scientific or linguistic regularity, because that does not seem to be how they are used in period. And it's a difficult urge for me to get over, because if you know me, you know I'm really into constructed languages, which, as much as, yeah, it's nice to make nice to make a conlang look like a natural language, it's also really nice to make a conlang that is nice and regular and easy to learn. Granted, being regular does not necessarily mean easier to learn. It just means, well, it doesn't mean easy to learn. It's just that if you have something complicated, then making it regular, making it the same every time, is one less level of complexity that you have to deal with. Because it doesn't matter if the language is perfectly regular if you still have to explain, like, direct inverse and agency grammar to somebody who speaks English, then those are concepts that come out of like Native American languages, which are very different than European languages. You're still going to have a hard time with it. And that's why my conlang has kind of gotten away from me. The RMSS is not exactly the easy language that it once was when I was creating it in, high school. It really has been forever since I started that language. Of course, whether you can even call it the same language is its own thing, you know? Because the grammar is nowhere near what it was. Probably if you asked a linguist today, like if you showed a linguist my first draft of this language and the current draft of the language, what they would, and you asked them to say, like, how are these two languages related? What they'd probably tell you is that they are languages from totally different families that happen to have a bunch of vocabulary in common. Because, or they had a bunch of vocabulary in common several hundred years ago and have since evolved away from each other again. Because I think there are maybe one or two words that have survived totally unscathed through the entire process. Hmm. I was worried that listening to the same song on loop for 2 hours was gonna get old, but it actually hasn't. It is just nice and relaxing. Which, I mean, it is designed to be looped. So I guess it would be kind of bad if you wrote a song to be looped and then made it unbearable to listen to on a loop. But I'm not a composer. I'm just really happy that there are people out there who provide their music royalty free so that people who stream can do stuff with it without having to pay royalties every time. What I'm using right now just requires attribution, so the name of the song will be in the description of the video and should be in the description of the live stream right now. guess I could just do some transcription right now. By transcription, I mean doing the putting down of the text. So where are we? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the book up big and my writing in small. Can you see that? Yep, that is visible. Cool. Maybe move me over there. There we go, that looks good. Then take the mallow, fennel, pimpernel, butcher's broom, borage, and the young leaves of the earth nut and bruise them as well as possible. Oh wait, no. Bruised. The tree which is in the ground, let it be scraped and washed thoroughly and bruised well in a mortar. Then take the liquor prepared from the aforementioned herbs and mix the said bark therein assiduously. Hopefully I can find some abbreviations for that. Between both hands and set it to drain into a vessel to acidify. Acidify, that sounds dramatic. Fermenting it with goat's whey or cow's whey. Let a good cupful thereof be drank every morning, as long as it lasts, a portion of raw honey, apple, or wood sorrel being taken subsequently in order to remove the taste from the mouth after the draught. This liquor is beneficial to every man who requires to purge his body. Great. Oh, and let me just get out my list of abbreviations. Here we are. We are on to the section on hemorrhoids. Fun. Alright. Big stretch. Off camera. Alright. That is that. Thank you, one anonymous watcher, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I hope if you're watching this later, you've enjoyed. And I will see you later. Bye.